Together online.
Hello. How are you doing today?
Doing all right. How are you?
I'm doing well. So, introduce yourself to the listeners who might not know what your music project is.
Hey there. My name's Tyler. I am the band Your Arms My Cocoon. It's a solo bedroom screamo thing that I started when I was 17, living in my parents' house in high school. Just hanging out in my bedroom after school, making cool music.
I've been going through hella like interviews of you, and I just found out that you work at a like bunny therapy place. Tell me about this. That's crazy. I didn't know that these things existed.
Yeah, I mean they're not like super common, obviously, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a cat cafe, just like with bunnies instead. You go in, you kind of like hang out with the bunnies for an hour, and you get to pet them. And I'll give the whoever's hanging out with the bunnies, I'll give them like cilantro or whatever bunny snack.
Yeah.
Um, so that the bunnies will like hop up on their laps and stuff. It's super cute.
Someone asked, do you think that do you feel like working on that bunny store has influenced your music at all?
Probably in some way. Yeah. I mean, being around animals is something that I've always wanted to do, like since I was a little kid. And just like getting to know each individual rabbit and getting to know their personality and that kind of thing. It's like having a bunch of tiny little friends, you know, and those tiny little friends influence me on my music just as much as any like human friends would, I think, you know?
Yeah. And while we're on the topic of bunnies, what's the story behind the bunny hat that you usually wear when you're on tour?
Yeah. So that bunny hat, oh shoot, where is it? It's somewhere over there in the corner. It's something that my partner made for me, just like for fun, about a year and a half ago. It was when I started working at the bunny place. She made me a hat to go along with the bunnies. Bunnies have just been like, rabbits have been a huge part of my life for the past like 2.5 years, obviously, because I work there, and now because of the hat, it just kind of adds on to everything. And so my partner made that for me, and it also looks fucking sick. So that's why I'd take it around with me.
Also, what's the story with all the I noticed again on your tour, you have when you set up, you have this like plethora of like teddy bears. Tell me about that.
Okay, well, for this past tour that I did the summer of 2022, and for all the solo shows that I've been doing prior to that, I didn't have a band. Obviously, it was just me. I didn't know anybody in the city to play music with me. But I figured after doing like 1 or 2 shows, just me on the stage, it felt so empty and like quiet and cold up on the stage when it's just like a lone person. It didn't feel natural. It didn't feel comfortable for me. Like I feel like there's got to be something else to be taking up all this negative space. And I played with a band whose name is escaping me right now. But they're a local band in Chicago. And when they set up, this was back in like November of 2021. When they set up, they had like one big, they put like one big teddy bear right in front of one of their amps. I was like, that's cool. I like their little stage getup. That's kind of cool. I'll keep that in mind. And then I did.
And then don't you have like names for all the bears?
Yeah. So what I did for this past tour was every show I'd ask the audience to name one of the stuffed animals, and by the end of the tour, pretty much all of them were named.
Nice. That's cool. Do you remember all the names?
God, no.
Oh my gosh.
Some of them were named like 2 or 3 times too. So yeah, there's no way. I do remember this guy. This is Daniel Johnston.
With the Your Arms Are My Cocoon project, what were your influences with this?
So I remember when I was first starting it, I was listening to a lot of like bedroom pop, like Salvia Paul and Bedbug, Dandelion Hands, Crywink, all that good stuff. I have been obsessed with that, or was obsessed with it from like age 14 to 16. Like that's all I listened to. And then around age 16, I also started getting really into like Page 99 and like Jerome's Dream and all the classic like screamo bands of the 90s. And it was at that like crossover point when I was listening to these two distinct styles and genres of music so consistently and so often that I feel like maybe naturally my brain just kind of started to like interweave the two in my imagination. And I started imagining what, like a screamo song in the style of Bedbug might sound like. And because it was just, me in my bedroom, and because I knew that artists like Bedbug and Crywink and Dandelion Hands were all solo projects, it was all just one person. I knew that was something that I could feasibly and reasonably accomplish by myself, which was a necessity because I didn't grow up around a whole lot of other musicians.
From a lot of your instrumentation, also, like, I definitely get like Brave Little Abacus is a big influence of yours, right?
Yeah, I also discovered them around that pivotal 16-year-old time. And I remember the first time I listened to them, it took me like 3 or 4 listens to them.
Oh no, definitely. That record is like, it's not a first listen like, oh, this is my jam. Like it really needs to to grow on you.
It really does. Yeah, I remember the first time it came up on my YouTube recommended, and I clicked on it, and I was like, Jesus Christ,
really?
What's going on here? But like it just like kept drawing me back, and I feel like that's when you know that you've found something really, really cool, is when it turns you off, but then you keep getting drawn back to it,
Yeah.
Power. That's how you know that it's something really, really special, I think.
Yeah. Oh, wait, you have that Brave Little Abacus tattoo, right?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, of their second album.
First one. Yeah.
Yeah, Mass Dancers. Yeah. Yeah, they're just phenomenal. I love Brave Little Advocus and just like what how much thought they put into that record, and also like the unconventional instruments that they would put in their music. And I noticed that you also put a lot of like unconventional instruments in your music as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of that obviously is also the Brave Little Advocus influence. It's also a lot of The World Is a Beautiful Place and I'm No Longer Afraid to Die influence. Mm-hmm. That was a band that I found when I was like 12 or 13 or something, in like a Kerrang magazine or something like that.
Yeah.
Or in Alternative Press magazine, I think. It was way in the back in the new releases, and whenever, if ever, that record had just came out, and it was in the back of a alt press magazine, and I picked it up when I was like 12 or 13. I was like just getting into music, so I would like scour the new releases catalog at the back of every single alt press magazine that I could find, and I came across that one, and that one like just like really stuck with me. So there's a lot of that influence on it too, where it's just like as maximalist as possible, building harmonies with different instruments to create these like really one of a kind kind of like textures that you don't really get a whole lot, especially in emo music. These walls of harmony from all these different instruments. Yeah.
I was picking up a lot of like instruments from your songs. Like, what was the instrument that you used at the end of Snowy? It sounds like a chord organ or something. Like,
Oh, yeah. That's this guy, my Yamaha Portasound PSS 80, that I got for $20 at Goodwill in Katy, Texas.
ooh, so that's it's like just some like preset on there.
It's got this like voice variator thing on it where you select like what the voice you want. Like I'm gonna select trumpet here, and then that's what it sounds like. But if you use this voice variator tool, you can make it more mellow and longer.
Oh, that's dope.
Now more like
That's cool. Yeah, it's hard to like come by like instrument or like toy synths that have that.
yeah, no, it's this thing was besides my grandma's Casio keyboard. This was the first keyboard I ever got, and it has stuck with me. This thing is fucking awesome.
Also, at the end of Raisin Lungs, what was that instrument? Was that a theremin?
That was a singing saw blade.
What is that?
I can get that too.
Oh my gosh, I'm getting all your instruments.
This is the singing saw blade. It's in its case right now. It is pretty much exactly what it sounds like it is. Play it with a bow, like a violin or a cello, or any kind of bowed string instrument, and then it's a saw.
How would you play this?
So you just kind of like sit down, put this blade in between your legs. I don't know how rosined up this bow is, but you just kind of hold it with your left hand over here, hold the end of it, and bow it. And it kind of sounds like...
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, right? I found out about this thing from listening to Neutral Milk Hotel and looking at like the credits in the album liner when I first got it.
Where did you end up finding that instrument?
This was a graduation present that I asked for. When I graduated high school, I was like, Mom, if there's one thing I need to get, if there's one thing I need in life post graduating high school, it's a fucking saw.
That is the weirdest graduation present I've ever heard of. Also, I noticed that like when you did the Mecha Fest, your instrumentals were done through like was it sound fonts?
Yeah, it was a lot of like video game sound fonts that I downloaded to my laptop.
Do you know what games?
Off the top, I mean, I still have them downloaded onto my laptop and I use them sometimes. It's a mix of Chrono Trigger, Pokemon, Soul Silver, Mario 64, a little bit. Mostly those.
Yeah, I like how you throw in the sound fonts. I feel like sound fonts are really like slept on.
Right. I agree. Yeah, no, they're barely underutilized.
Yeah,
because they, you know, if they're dynamic enough to be used in soundtracks, to, you know, paint the scene of something as colorful as a video game, they should be able to be as dynamic enough to paint, you know, an emo song that doesn't even have any visuals to go along with it. You know, and I think that really helps bring out the vibrancy of the song as well, which is why personally I love to use them.
Yeah, and also you could like essentially just like pirate like sounds with sound fonts. Like you can pirate like synths and stuff like that, like presets and everything. Like it's cool.
Yeah, no, I download that shit for free.
No, really. When did you notice like when you first got viral? Like what was like the moment where it was like, dang, this is like my project is like blowing up?
I guess I don't know if this had quite hit the point of virality yet, but the moment when I was partnering with Sun Eater Records to put out our first cassette tapes, and I think we put out 50, I want to say. It was 50 cassette tapes, and we set them out We put them on the website and we announced it, and like maybe 3 minutes later they were all gone. And that was a moment where I was like, what do you mean they're gone? We just fucking put them up. What do you mean they're gone? Like that was a moment where I was like, holy shit, dude, that's fucking crazy. I like literally I never could have imagined this in my entire life, that something that I made would have that kind of effect, you know?
But I don't know, it blew up within the emo scene, and like that album is like such like a figurehead of like current emo right now, or where current emo's at.
Thank you.
What's your favorite song that you've made?
I think composition wise, I love October. I think that one is one of the better composition wise. If not that, then Raisin Lungs. But songwriting wise, I'm really happy with the way Metamorphosis turned out. I'm seeing the way that song has seemingly affected people is really, really cool and interesting, and especially because that one especially came from like a raw little place. Then I'm really happy with it. I like Metamorphosis.
Yeah. And I noticed that on your recent tour you've played a couple new tracks. Tell me about those tracks.
So one of the new tracks that I played, it's usually the second one I would play in the set. The current name that I'm working with right now is Muffled Beneath the Sound of the Ocean, and it's like that's a song that's done, and I want to put it on a record. Obviously, I've been working on a record for a while, and at the moment I'm living in a tiny apartment with 2 roommates, and I just, it's very loud here a lot of the time, so I haven't really had a whole lot of time to really work on it, which sucks because that's something that I really want to work on. But I'm moving out in a couple months, and so I think once I move out, there should be a new record like within like 4 to 6 months.
Mm-hmm. How complete would you say the record is right now?
Oh man, well, everything's written. Maybe like a quarter of it is recorded. So overall, maybe like 40%, which is not a whole lot. But listen, I'm doing my best.
No, I mean everything's written, so it's once you get the space, it's like it's a different story. What should we expect from the new album?
Well, let me be transparent here. There's a new Your Arms My Cocoon record, and that one I think is going to have live drums, maybe, just because the way that it's sounding, or the way that it's kind of turning out, it doesn't sound super awesome with programmed drums, and it's going to be very sad. And I've also got another little project that I'm working on that's more in the style of the first EP, that's very lo-fi and has programmed drums and stuff, and that one should be done a lot sooner because I'm working on that one in just kind of like the small moments I have when my roommates are gone. And that one's probably about like 60% done. So that one should be done like within the next couple of months.
So is that another just like Your Arms EP?
I don't know. I'm kind of turning that over in my head, whether I want that to be another Your Arms My Cocoon EP, or just like a separate but similar thing, kind of like how Sam Ray did Starry Cat and Julia Brown, and Teen Suicide and all that other shit. That.
Why do you feel like this isn't connected to that project?
I don't know. I feel like for Your Arms My Cocoon, another EP just isn't the next logical step, and especially with the sounds that I don't know. I just feel like the record that I've been working on, the full length, the one with the live drums, just fits more into the Your Arms My Cocoon canon. And I know that like what I'm saying right now probably doesn't have like a whole lot of substance to it, because it's a lot of just stuff that's in my brain. But I just feel like what I'm working on now, the little side project, I feel like it just doesn't have like a lot of space in the Your Arms My Cocoon canon. But maybe it does. Maybe it does. Maybe I'll put it out under a different name, and then I'll think that was stupid and I should have put it out under Your Arms My Cocoon. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, I feel like you definitely have a lot of pressure on you to top your last EP.
Kind of how I feel.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Well, you made mention earlier of virality, and I mean, yeah, I don't even know if, in the broader sense that would make sense with what I'm doing, but in the specific sense, in the emo world sense, it does, and it did have a sense of viralness to it. And with that, with all the reviews and all the people that have listened to it and told me how much they enjoy it, and how much the biggest word that I see after or reading reviews, which I should never do. I don't know why I do that, but the biggest word I see is potential. Like, I can't wait to see what this kid does next. He's got a lot of potential. And I'm like, fuck, what am I gonna do next? Like, I apparently have some sort of potential, but I don't know what that means, or if I can deliver on that, if I can deliver on that promise of potential. And that's kind of the anxiety. I've, to be totally transparent with you, for like a long time, after I released the EP, for like, I know a couple of split songs came out, but up until like maybe 4 to 6 months ago, I just had this overbearing weight on my chest and on my shoulders, regarding that question, regarding that potential, and that promise of potential, and just kind of freaking out and being so nervous that I wouldn't be able to deliver on it. And that just kind of like shut me out of music as a whole for a very long time. Even though I was touring and stuff, for a little bit of it, it's still just like, I felt disconnected from it for a long time.
I feel like it's really, with our generation and like the internet and like SoundCloud, with our generation, it's really easy to upload music. And I see a lot of people get like viral when they're so young, and like with music, and it's like at the time, like they don't really know what they're doing. It's all usually done through like pirated software. Like they just release something and just something like sticks. But I feel like it definitely kind of like messes with like your future projects, definitely, and just like how you perceive future like releasing music. It's just scary.
It is, yeah. And I feel like, if I'm like obviously insanely grateful for the attention that Your Arms My Cocoon has gotten, but and this is a very light, this is a conservative but, because I am truly, truly grateful. But I feel like perhaps maybe some more failures along the way would have set me up for success a lot easier, because I had maybe 2 projects that were really, really small that I did in like a weekend, that I had put out before, that obviously didn't, nobody listened to them. But I was like 16, and I feel like maybe a longer road of failure would have maybe set me up for a greater success. But I don't know. That's just kind of like, I'm just kind of like brain talking,
No, yeah, I mean, being young and like having all this fame thrown at you, like on the internet, just all of a sudden, is it definitely does something to you. Like that happened to me. Like I made like vaporwave music back in the day, and I had like one song that like blew up, and then ever since then, like I just had this like anxiety to post like something that would top it. And even though it was just like the easiest song that you could ever make. Yeah, I don't know. It does something to people. But all right, regardless, I went on Reddit and I was like, hey people, I'm interviewing Your Arms Are My Cocoon. Post some questions. So I have some questions from Reddit that I want to ask. First off, what guitars or what gear do you use? Like, what pedals do you use?
For the record, I for the EP, I did not own any pedals. It was just straight up into the amp, clean tone. Right now, for touring, I'm still mostly doing the same, but I did just buy, like, a couple of days ago. I bought this. It's called a distortion fuzz pedal. It does distortion and fuzz, and it's got a couple of cool little knobs there, and it sounds really neat. Besides that, I got a $100 Squire guitar that I got when I was 14, and on the last tour, I used a 7-string Ibanez that I cut the 7th string off of because I hated how it sounded.
Why did you do that? Why did you even take it on tour?
I thought it would be so cool to have a 7th string, and then I started playing it and I was like, wow, this sounds like shit with what I'm doing. I'm just going to cut the 7th string off.
No, I had an Ibanez 7-string too, and I did not use that 7th string. I thought it'd be like so cool, like making metalcore when I was like 16 or something, but it just did not work.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, it just got in the way of me playing like actual chords.
Exactly. Yeah. So I at some point I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna snip it off. Whatever.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if this is too personal. That's that sentence up. The rest of that sentence up for failure already. If I start the sentence with, I don't know if this is too personal.
What? All right, give me the answer.
I mean, I pee like maybe like 30 times a day.
Respect.
And I shit probably 4 times a day. I got a lot of homeostasis to take care of in here, which sounds like a problem. But I don't know. I don't mind peeing.
Alright. I was not expecting this answer. We respect the homeostasis king.
I maybe went a little too much on that. Sorry.
Alright, last question from Reddit. What's your thoughts on hyperpop?
It's sick, and I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. The song that you, I think it was on one of your sets. You called it "I'm Ruined."
Yes. That was the other new song that I was gonna bring up, but I forgot about because I went on that big tangent.
Tell me about that song because it's super dancey, and like you use a sample, and it's like so like, there's something about it too. Yeah.
Yeah, that one. I'm Ruined was made for the Mechafest show, but I've been playing at the end of all of my live shows because when I made it, I was watching a lot of Initial D, and Initial D got me into Eurobeat, and so I was listening to a lot of Eurobeat at the time, and Hexed was pretty big at the time. It was like this offshoot of hyperpop. Fax Gang was a huge part of that scene at the time, and so that was all what I was listening to. And I remember one night I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna make a Eurobeat song in a Hex style, and I'm gonna sample one of the songs that was used in Initial D." And then "I'm Ruined" was the result of that, and I made it in literally, I think, like 3 hours one night. I just like sat down, like it was my hyper focus for the night.
Yeah, that's got to be like one of my favorite songs you have right now. What should that what release do you think that's going to be on, or do you think that's just going to be like a single?
I have no idea. I have tried to follow it up with like other electronic type songs, but I haven't been able to match that focus that I had that one night like 2 years ago, making that song. Um, I mean, maybe it'll appear as like a bonus track somewhere. I don't know. We'll see.
All right. Well, that is basically the interview. How was that show in Sacramento?
The sax show was fucking crazy. It was, yeah, it was wild. There was like, it was almost like biblical the way it like.
Oh,